Hi, and welcome to Culture Lit, a podcast and community that explores Black women and romantic love through the lens of romance novels. I'm your host, Octavia Marie. Each episode of Culture Lit trains a spotlight on a new Black romance novel and then deep dives into the many themes facing Black women and love after 40. Be ready to laugh, sigh, and talk about Black women falling in love, yes, sex too, and the Black authors writing their stories. Welcome to episode 1 of the Culture Lit podcast. I'm Octavia Marie. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. It really means everything to me. I've been toying around with the idea of doing a podcast for over a year now. My friends and family have been encouraging me to do one for a very long time, but I've always been like, oh no, what would I possibly talk about? I'm not a celebrity or an influencer, but I am famous in my circles for my epic rants. A whole podcast show, though? I don't know about that. I certainly didn't think it was the right thing for me. I didn't think I could pull something off like this or sit behind a microphone. I had no idea what I could possibly talk about. And then, of course, the old enemy fear kicked in. And I asked myself, are people actually going to listen to me? And yet here I am. And more importantly, here you are. Wow, I'm doing this. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I spent over 2 decades of my professional career providing public relations, digital content strategy, copywriting, and copy editing for authors, beauty and wellness brands, along with luxury travel and tech brands. Ever since I began my career in marketing communications and editing, I've practiced one mantra: people are the heart of every great story, and it served me well. I wanted to start out by letting you know what I've done professionally in my life because it's also a part of who I am. But I'm much more than that. I've developed a deep love for travel. I'm a huge foodie, and I have never met a dessert I didn't like. Years ago, a close friend asked me what truly makes me happy, or when am I at my happiest? And it truly stumped me because I couldn't readily answer the question. But over the last few years, I've learned the answer is this: when I'm exploring, learning something new, or trying a new dish. I've started using Pinterest to build my dream trips to beautiful and magical destinations. And as soon as this panorama eases, I'm headed to Portugal and Dakar, Senegal to explore. As I've gotten older, I've gotten into wellness and started paying more attention to my body and my mind. I love going to museums and standing around just looking at the exhibits, and I absolutely love when my nose is buried in a romance book, sitting on a beach, drinking good champagne. Romance novels have been a part of my life for decades. I'm an avid reader and have been reading them since I was a young girl. But romance writing has come a long way since the era of my grandmother's book I used to sneak and read. So when I sat down to figure out what in the world I would talk about on a podcast, I decided to discuss the love stories of Black women being told by amazing Black authors, because I realized at my core, I love a good love story. Hey girl, hey. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you sign up for our occasional newsletter and join our community at culturelitpodcast.com, where we share book reviews. You can interact with our guests and you'll have a chance to tell me your story and be a part of our community. That's culturelitpodcast.com. Now back to the show. These last couple of years have been a challenge for all of us. They've been filled with grief, death, divisiveness, violence. And for me, in hard times, the right book has been the best kind of refuge, one that offered me a reset rather than a retreat. So now more than ever, especially as a Black woman, it's important for me to read something that reminds me of the joy and beauty of Black life and Black women. And there's nothing better than an excellent Black authored romance. I honestly think we should all read more romance by Black authors. There are things people outside the culture don't get about Blackness. The sheer joy of it. especially given the fact that so many fixate on the struggle. Black romance thrives on complexity and nuance, on Black solidarity and achievement, on the triumph of everyday life lived well in spite of the odds. So that's me in a nutshell. Over time, we'll get to know each other better because I'm going to talk about all things romance novels. I'm going to talk about life. I'm going to talk about stuff that resonates with me. I'll talk about dating and romance over 40. Now that should be interesting. And I'm going to highlight some of my favorite romantic moments and stories that you guys send me. In my perfect world, Culture Lit is a community and a celebration of Black women and Black love. A reminder that Black women deserve joy, love, success, second chances, and all the beautiful magic the world has to offer. That our stories aren't rooted in struggle and trauma. Black women are a lot of things. Monolithic is not one of them. Mostly, I'll use this podcast to talk about some of my favorite romance novels and all the random ways they parallel life. In the meantime, I hope you'll stick around for the next episode of the Culture Lit podcast. Once again, thank you for joining me on this adventure. You've been listening to Culture Lit with Octavia Marie, and that's all for us this week. Be sure to listen, download, or subscribe to more episodes of Culture Lit. You can find Culture Lit on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple listeners, please be sure to leave a review and let us know what you think. Don't forget to talk to me on social or share your Black love stories at Becoming Octavia Marie on Instagram or XO Octavia Marie on Twitter. Make sure you sign up for our occasional newsletter and join our community at culturelitpodcast.com.